Hello, welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and I am excited to read with you this afternoon. What are you reading this afternoon? Let me know in the comments that you're here. Say hi and let me know what you'll be reading. I don't know if you caught a glimpse, but I'm reading Death of Riley by Rhys Bowen. This is the second in her Molly Murphy series. And I'm reading that for a mystery book club that I'm part of. And we've actually got a Zoom call for it tomorrow. So I need to get that read. It's a reread for me, but it's been years since I've read it. And I'm really enjoying it. Molly Murphy is a great character. In the first book, she immigrates from Ireland to New York City at the turn of the century. And so I love that. New York City at the turn of the century is a great time period and setting. And Molly Murphy is just such a great character. She's so spunky, but she's also so young and so naive. And I don't think she fully understands some of the situations that she gets herself into. Hi, Cornflower. You're finishing a middle grade book. Perfect. Hello, Marlena Joe. That's my lovely mother-in-law. Julianne is here. Hello. Well, I'm excited to see you guys all here. Yeah, I'm hoping to get some good reading done this afternoon. And I also have some interesting discussion questions, some questions that I want to bring to you guys to see what you guys think. Greenstick Cottage, hi. Reading Bring Up the Bodies. Oh, I have not read that. I've actually only read the first one. I've only read Wolf Hall. Bring Up the Bodies, is that the second one or the third one? Is it a trilogy now? I can't keep it straight. But yeah, that's some serious historical fiction there. Great time period too. Henry VIII, that's good. It's very good. I'm drinking some raspberry rooibos tea this afternoon, which is delicious. Or as my friend Precious Remote's Way would say, bush tea. I don't know how she would feel about the raspberry part of it. I think she's probably hardcore, just straight bush tea. My World in Books. Hello. Ooh, The Unpleasantness at the Bellona Club. Sorry, I'm not saying that very well. Hello. Bolquins and Books. I'm probably not saying that right either. Greenstick is loving it. It is the second one after Wolf Hall. Oh, yes, The Mirror and the Light is the third one. That's right. Julianne, I love vanilla rooibos. Ooh, me too. I have some of that in my tea drawer as well. But I decided to go with the raspberry one this afternoon. I really like rooibos. I know it's not for everybody, but I do love the flavored ones. Although, to be honest, I've only ever had vanilla and raspberry. Hearts and Whodunits, welcome here. Bolquins and Books is reading Read Dangerously by Azir Nafisi. That's interesting. Is that fiction or nonfiction? That sounds good. Hearts and Whodunits is reading Inherit the World by Daryl Wood Gerber. Excellent. So I was thinking that we would chat until 10 after and then do a 20-minute sprint until the half hour. Nonfiction. Okay. That sounds really great. Very good. Julianne is reading Dragonfly. Oh, Dragonfly Vanilla Rooibos Tea. What's the Dragonfly part? Is that just the brand? That's the people who make it? Sounds so good. I forget who made my my raspberry rooibos. I took it out of the package and put it in a tin. I have tins for my loose leaf tea. So, since we're so close to the end of March Mystery Madness, can you even believe it that we're so close to the end of the month already? I can't believe it. What has been your favorite read of the month? Also, what has been your least favorite read of the month? I think that would be that would be interesting to hear. I enjoy hearing about the books that people like, but I also, pardon me, I also enjoy hearing about the books that you didn't like, because let's be honest, there's always books that just don't work, for us. So what's been your favorite and what's been your least favorite? It's hard for me to think of just one favorite of the month. I loved the Bryant May that I read, London Bridge is Falling Down. I also loved the Elizabeth George that I read, Someone is Hiding. No, what was that one called? I forget now. But I read so many that were really good. I've had a few that were kind of so. And I can't remember now what that was called either. Anyway, yeah, let me know what's been your favorite read and what's been your least favorite read. I would love to hear about that. Also curious, did you kind of stick to, for the mysteries that you read for March Mystery Madness, did you stick to kind of one type of mystery, one type subgenre of mystery, or did you read a variety of the mystery subgenres? I'd be curious to know about that, because I know, for example, there's some people that just read cozy mysteries, and I think that's great. That sounds really good. But part of me is wondering if you stick to one subgenre, does that make it easier for burnout to happen? I'm curious. So, because I've read a variety during the month. I've read some cozies, I've read some historical mysteries, I've read some vintage mysteries, golden age mysteries, some that maybe you could call them thrillers. So yeah, I'm curious, and I've read a variety, and I've been really happy with the variety that I've read. But I can also imagine that if I only ever read, say, historical mysteries, I think I would have been fine with that too. Curious, yeah. Mom says my favorite was my new Asterix book. It was her birthday a couple of days ago, and Erin and I got her a bind up of the first 3 Asterix and Obelix books. So that's awesome. Sarah says, I enjoyed the appeal for its format. Sarah, I have the appeal out from the library right now, and I'm going to be reading it really, really soon. And it's the format of it exactly that caught my attention for that book. I really like it when authors try different ways of telling a story when they're brave like that, because it doesn't always work for everybody. So I'm really curious. Least favorite for me is starting to look like a DNF. I'm stuck in the middle. Cousin Pawns by Balzac. The best probably is Behind the Shattered Glass by Tasha Alexander. Ooh, I love that series. Is that the latest one? That doesn't sound like one I've read before. Excellent. My fave was the paranormal cozy Death Metal by Nova Nelson. That series is so delightfully amusing. Excellent. That sounds good. I've never read any books by Nova Nelson. Death of a Nitwit. Good title. Was my least favorite. Well, it's got a good title, so that might help. And I think Better Late Than Never is a favorite. Who wrote Better Late Than Never? You love Asterix too. Yeah. I'm not as much of a fan, but that's because it kind of feels a bit like a comic book, and I'm not into that stuff really, but I can see the appeal, definitely. Murder in Old Bombay by Nev Marsh. Yeah, that one was so good. That's definitely another one of my favorites of the month. Worst, Murder in Sunrise Lake by Christine Feehan, and DNFing the Christie Affair. Yeah, you know what? I didn't DNF the Christie Affair, but I didn't really like it. That would definitely be on my list of least favorites of the month. Christine Feehan sounds familiar to me as an author, but I don't know if I've ever read anything by Death by a Nitwit is a Peggy Earhart, and Better Late Than Never is a... Oh, Jen McKinley. Is that one of the Library Lovers series? I like that series. I need to get back to that series. I haven't read in that series for a while. And part of the reason is because I think I've been reading that series completely out of order, because I read kind of basically just like what I could get my hands on from the library. And so I didn't start at the beginning, and I don't think I read them in order. Yeah. All right, let's start a reading sprint. We will go till the half hour. Let me find the banner. So yeah, we'll read till the half hour. I'm excited about reading to you with you guys. Not to you guys. I'm not going to read out loud, I swear. So I will see you at the half hour. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good reading sprint. I read about 20 pages, and there was some good action in those 20 pages. It's very entertaining. Molly is such a great character because I said this earlier, she's spunky and yet still naive, and she gets herself in these situations. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Let's backtrack here and look at some comments. Nadine joined us. I'm reading Dead Dead Girls by Nikisha Afia, a Harlem Renaissance mystery. I'm enjoying it so far. I have not heard of that series. I'm going to write that down to look up later. That sounds interesting. Nikisha Afia, Harlem Renaissance. Cool. And Donna is here. Hi, Donna. Welcome here. Just joining in, still reading Death in Castle Dark by Veronica Bond. I've just got that out from the library, Donna. I haven't started it yet, but I got it out because you mentioned it and it sounded good. Jackie, welcome, Jackie. Late to join. I had my grandbabies here. Oh, that's nice. I hope you had a great time. I'm reading The Anomaly by Herve Letellier and The Three Musketeers. Cool. Cajun Peach, hi, welcome here. Reading Broken Bone China, a tea shop mystery. I have not read any of the tea shop mysteries, but I have heard a lot about them. Susan, hi, welcome here. Finished Death of a Wandering Wolf, number 2 by Julia Buckley during the Killing Time with Cozy sprint this morning. Starting Death on the Night of Lost Lizards, number 3 during this sprint. Julia Buckley, that sounds so familiar. I think that I've read a series by her, but which is this series? This sounds really interesting. Hearts and Whodunits, read a chapter. Sweet. Hi, Kevy. Been watching the kids all day, but I'm just getting a chance to sit down and read. Awesome. I'm going to read The Anomaly by Herve de Someone, French. Oh, that's funny. You're reading the same book that Jackie's reading. That's hilarious. Is that a coincidence, or are you guys doing a buddy read? Maria, hi. Nice to see you. Want to make progress on Sayers' bio. Oh, you're reading a biography on Dorothy L. Sayers? That sounds interesting. Very interesting. Hello, Naomi. Ooh, a reread of the Seven Dials mystery. I like the Seven Dials mystery. It's one of those it's got like the bright young things, so it has a real lighthearted romp sense to it. I like that. And who's the girl in that? What is her nickname? Bunty or something? She's hilarious. She's very funny. Okay, so Erin and I were having this conversation a few days ago about the types of clues that I prefer in mysteries. He doesn't tend to read a lot of mysteries, but he has to listen to me talk about the mysteries that I read. And so we were talking about the types of clues that are in mysteries, and we came up with 3. Hang on here. Oh, yeah. So physical clues, psychological clues, and logic clues. All right, I'm going to come back to that in a second. Susan says, oh, it's the Hungarian Tea House. Okay, only 3 books in the series. That's interesting. Jackie says, I received a few books from Peg at the History Channel, and this was the next book in my stack. It's wonderful so far. Excellent. Coincidence. Isn't that funny? My aunt loved Anomaly and wanted me to read it so she could have someone to discuss it with. I understand that. Oh, Bundle. Yeah, that's what it is. Bundle. Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, so the 3 clues that we came up with in kind of generally were physical clues like footprints, fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. The weapon, if it's left behind, all of that. The second one was psychology, right? Like the psychological kind of clues. So that's more like interviewing people, talking to people, human nature, right? And then the third kind is logic, right? So like working it all out rationally, people's alibis, were they where they said they were going to be, all of that kind of stuff. And so then I was thinking, okay, so who can I think of off the top of my head that might suit, that might tend more toward one or the other of these types of clues. So something with physical clues, like I was thinking, like those are the types of mysteries that you read where you have like the medical examiner is the detective, or or any kind of a CSI, right? So like if it's TV show, then CSI is a perfect example of this, right? It's all about the physical clues, and they have it, it shows up in red on the screen. This is the killer, DNA, all of that, right? So so the person who came to my mind was Temperance Brennan. The TV show or the book, the series, right? She's a forensic anthropologist. It's all about the physical clues. And in this case, particularly the bones. She looks at the bones, the physical clues, and comes up with the answers. For the psychology, I immediately thought of Poirot, right? He says that all the time. It's the psychology, it's the psychology. But if you tend more towards the human nature side of it, it's also Miss Marple, isn't it? She's all about just chatting to people, getting people talking, and through psychology and human nature, those are the big clues that she uses to solve the mystery. And then you have logic, right? Like working it all out logically, rationally. And I was thinking of Monk. So the TV show or even the books, he's the type of detective that logically works things through to the point where he'll say, this is the guy, I know it's this person, and he may have an unbreakable alibi or whatever, but logically there is, it's him. It has to be him. So my question for you is, what type of clues do you prefer when you're reading a mystery? What do you go for? Do you like the physical kind of clues? Do you like the psychology, or do you like the logic? Because I tend to read all three, but less of the physical clues, I think. Like as a person who reads primarily whodunits and a lot of Golden Age, it's kind of mostly the psychology. Like I like that. I like that you've got these professional or amateur detectives who are just talking to people, and through those discussions are figuring out the clues. So let me know, what do you prefer? What kind of clue, pardon me, do you prefer in your mystery? Kevy, ooh, finished writing my first short mystery. Good for you. Congrats. That is awesome. Helen, hi, Helen. Oh, you're at work at the moment, but saying hi now quickly to you and everyone, and I'll watch this all later and do some independent reading sprints. Oh, well, thanks for popping in to say hi, Helen, and I hope you have a great day at work. Naomi, that's great. Congrats. Mariah is saying psychology. Yeah, I think those of us who are like the whodunits or the Golden Age mystery lovers, I think that's going to be the most popular one. Greenstick Cottage. I like solving logic puzzles, so the logical types appeal to me. Yeah, I can totally see that. And I mean, if I would rank them, it would be psychology, logic, and then the physical clues. Julianne says psychological clues too. Naomi, I prefer interview style mysteries, but I think a great mystery has a balance of all three. Oh yeah, 100%. Because even though Poirot is all about the psychology, and he says that all the time, I'm all about the psychology, I'm all about the psychology, there is no question that he is a very logical detective. And that he looks at the logic of it, but he also will look at the physical clues. Like that's definitely a part of it. Like that was part of our conversation, me and Aaron, because I said to him, there was in the very first Poirot, Mysterious Affair at Styles, he picks up on one of the physical clues and nobody else saw it, but everybody was hunting for this will that they knew was supposed to be around and nobody could find it. And he found it. He found a physical clue, but he found it because of psychology, I think. So you're right, Naomi, that it's definitely a balance of all three. Jackie says, I like the psychology, though some books with no idea who done it is fun too. Yeah, Hearts and Whodunits likes the logic clues. Cornflower likes the logic clues. Logic, if it makes no sense, it's no good. Yeah, it's totally true. So is there anybody who goes for the physical clues? Like there's some books where that's the whole series, right? Where the whole series, like the Bones ones, Temperance Brennan, she's a forensic anthropologist. So it's really all about the physical clues. Any books that are, you know, CSI kind of books, those are all basically going to be the physical clues. But I think those are only interesting if, like Naomi said, they also have a good amount of the psychology and logic as well. There it is, Naomi. I read physical the least, but they are critical for forming a case. It's totally true. Nadine says, I like when someone says something and it marks the person as the killer. You have to pay attention to dialogue. I enjoyed watching Columbo and trying to guess how he was going to solve the crime. That's totally true. And see, that was what was great about Columbo, was Columbos were all inverted mysteries. You knew who the killer was from the very beginning, and you were rooting for the detective to figure it out by the end, right? That to figure out who the killer was. And so, yeah, so with Columbo, Columbo was an example too of a good mix of all three. But yeah, like interviewing the suspects, talking to people, you're right. It's all about the dialogue and paying close attention to what people say. It's totally true. It's totally true. All right. What do you guys think of starting a reading sprint at 1:45? And what do you guys think about doing a half-hour one going until 1/4 after? Is half hour too long? Let me know, because we can totally stick to 20 minutes, but that's what I was thinking at this point. Kevy says, I've been writing a mystery series for several years, but I've yet to finish any of the full-length ones. So I challenged myself to write a short story so I can finally get something done. That's brilliant. Do you know what? Because there is something to be said about feeling that accomplishment and then, like, you know, continuing on with that accomplishment predominantly in your mind. That's fantastic. Physical clues are more interesting in true crime. We want the physical proof. In novels, we want to understand. So logic and psychology are important. Oh, that's very good. Yeah, I agree with that. The show Motive had the same premise, but it only had 2 seasons. Oh, now that sounds familiar to me. I'm pretty sure we saw that. And you're right. That was a great show. It's too bad it only had 2 seasons. Donna says, I think I like a nice blend of psychology, human nature for good character development, and great physical clues to move the plot along and keep the story honest so that the reader can solve the crime. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that, Donna. Half hour works. 30 minutes works. Good. It showed the killer at the beginning and worked toward the why. I'm pretty sure that that's the show that I'm thinking of. Was that a Canadian show, Naomi? I'm going to need to look it up after now because I can't remember. 30 minutes is good. 30 minutes is good. So that's what we'll do. We'll at 1:45, we'll do a half hour reading sprint. That's great. I'll be able to get a good chunk of my Death of Riley done. Naomi, have you finished this one? Naomi's part of my mystery book club. We're discussing it tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Because that's an interesting question to me, about the type of clues that you prefer. Although ultimately a good mystery needs to have a balance of all three, but I don't think, like, I think in the mysteries that you prefer, you're going to have like one that's maybe more predominant than the other two in a book. Although if you don't have all three, then ultimately the mystery will be maybe a bit dissatisfying. But yeah, I do really prefer the types of mysteries where the detective is talking to the suspects, getting the suspects to talk, or where we hear the conversation of the suspects and therefore get the clues from that. I just finished a Christiana Brand, where you have your detective, but we didn't actually really see him doing a lot of the work. What we got was there were 6 suspects and we overheard their conversations. And that's how, as the reader, I was able to figure out, or in this case, not figure out who the killer was. But I thought it was interesting. Toronto or Vancouver? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up now, Naomi. Because I'm trying to remember who was even in that. And now I can't even remember if we liked it or not, but I do remember seeing it. Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's do half an hour reading sprints. Good luck, everybody. Welcome back. I was so into the scene that I was reading that I neglected the time. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good reading sprint. Kevy got distracted by my nephew. That's okay. That's a good distraction. Family is a good distraction. Okay, so I hope you guys had a good reading sprint. I am really enjoying this Death of Riley. I have no idea yet who the killer is, but following Molly on her journeys is always entertaining. Okay, Hearts and Whodunits. Ooh, read about 40 pages. Good for you. That was a good reading sprint. Kevy read 2 pages. That's good. You read 2 pages, but you were hanging out with your nephew, so fair enough. Ooh, only 4 pages left in your book. Oh, Cornflower, how can you stand to put it down? I would want to just finish it. That's very funny. Susan finished the first chapter. That's great. Jackie, that was a great sprint. The Three Musketeers is getting quietly humorous. Interesting. I've never read The Three Musketeers. I've seen at least one movie about the Musketeers. I have an entire collection of Alexander Dumas, and so one of these days I really do need to get to it. I didn't know that it was humorous, though. That's interesting. Naomi, wow, 70 pages. Oh, yeah. Bundle and her driving. Yeah, it's a quick-paced, lighthearted one, so it's definitely a faster read, that's for sure. 19% Cajun, that's great. He asked to read my story and then complained there were too many words and gave up after the first paragraph. That's awesome. Donna says, I'm on page 8 of 20. Had to put the book down this week to read books due back at the library. So these sprints are a nice way to get back into the mystery. That's great. I completely understand that too. Just, I always have the stack of books that I want to read, and then library books just take the priority when they're due back at the library. Talking about your nephew just reminded me of this story. We have a little free library on our front lawn. And with all of the snow this winter and stuff, we hadn't really been keeping an eye on filling it up. And so one afternoon, the doorbell rang and Aaron answered it, and it was his little boy. He was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something like that. And he wanted to know if there were any children's books, because the little free library was empty and he wanted a book. It was adorable. And so we actually have a stash in one of our spare bedrooms. And so Aaron said for him to hang on, he would look to see. So we got a stash of children's books to show him. Aaron had asked him, what do you want to read? And he was like, well, I don't like the really big books with all the words, he said. So we were trying to find, books that might catch his attention. Anyway, we had a couple of Geronimo Stilton books in there, and he was so happy. He says, God bless you. It was so adorable. Oh, chapter 8 out of 20. Yeah. All right. Green Stick, Bring Up the Bodies is so intense right now. Can't remember where I started, but I stopped at the 11-hour mark. 3.5 hours left. Whew. Naomi, I'm hosting a read-along of The Count of Monte Cristo this summer if you want to take on that challenge. Ooh. All right. Naomi, let's chat about that. It'll all depend on how long this read-along is, because that's a monster of a book, isn't it? That's interesting. I mean, I've heard from so many people that it's so great, and we have it, and it's sitting on our shelves, and I haven't read it yet. So yeah, that could be a really good idea. Okay, so here's another question for you. Does Deus Ex Machina ruin the story for you? Now, this has nothing to do with mysteries. It's just about books in general, although this could also apply to movies. So Deus Ex Machina is Latin, and it means God from the machine. Basically, what it means is that some important part of the story is resolved without the influence of the main character. So like a never before seen person or object suddenly appears to save the day. And it comes from ancient Greek theater, where during their plays they would lower actors or statues with a crane or a machine down to the stage, and they would be playing a god or gods. And they would lower them onto the stage to set things right, and it usually happened at the end of the play. So that's where you get this Deus Ex Machina, God from the machine comes down and resolves everything, saves the day. Nowadays it's basically just a term for any plot device that wraps up a complicated conflict. Often people use the term as a criticism. The reader feels that the resolution came too easily and it wasn't earned by the character's actions. The thing is that sometimes, if it's done right, Deus Ex Machina works, but a lot of times it's true what they said, that the reader just feels like the writer kind of painted themselves into a corner and couldn't figure out any other way out. So a good example of this is that some people say that the eagles in the Lord of the Rings, at the end of the Lord of the Rings, that the eagles, that scene with the eagles is a Deus Ex Machina. The question there is whether or not the eagles have ever appeared before in the story. And I've been trying to remember, and I can't, because I'm getting it mixed up with the movies. And in the movies, we met the eagles before. And so it's not technically a Deus Ex Machina if you've met them before in the story. So I'm not entirely sure. There's also an example from Harry Potter. And so it's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It's going to be spoilery though, so I'm just putting it out there. If anyone doesn't want me to use this example because they haven't read it yet for some reason, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to use that example because it's a good example. Marlena Joe says, I always thought that things that are resolved by something unknown until the end, it's cheating. That's exactly what people say, that it's a way to cheat to resolve the story. Naomi, it's so frustrating in a mystery, but in the right book, it can work. See, now, Naomi, if you could give me an example, that would be great, because I was trying to find an example of Deus Ex Machina in a mystery, and I couldn't find one. I couldn't think of one. But if you can think of one, let me know. Because I think in general, I'm not sure that it works in a mystery. It's always going to feel like cheating in a mystery. I think the genres where it works is like fantasy, science fiction more. I can see it working in those types of stories. I can't stay for the rest of this session, but it was fun hanging out with you guys. Have a nice evening, everyone. Happy reading. Happy reading to you as well. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I haven't heard anything, so I'm just going to go for it with my Harry Potter example here. Okay, so Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So Harry is in the Chamber of Secrets, face to face with Tom Riddle, who is the younger version of Voldemort. Riddle sends a basilisk, which is like the big enormous snake, after Harry, and things seem hopeless for Harry until this magical phoenix flies into the chamber, drops the sorting hat in front of Harry. Harry finds the sword of Gryffindor in the hat, and he uses it to kill the basilisk. Okay, so that really does seem like a Deus Ex Machina, right? Like it was dropped into the story. The Phoenix's tears even heal Harry's wounds. Professor Dumbledore later reveals that Harry's loyalty caused the Phoenix to fly to him, but many consider that moment Deus Ex Machina. So it's been so long since I've read Harry Potter, I can't remember. Has the Phoenix appeared in the story before, or Or is that moment the first time the Phoenix shows up in the Harry Potter universe? Because that's what's important. Like, for it to be a true Deus Ex Machina, I think like it has to be a never before seen person or object just showing up to save the day. So if the Phoenix has been introduced before, then it's not a true Deus Ex Machina. So I'm curious because I haven't, it's been so long I can't remember. Naomi says the tea girl of Hummingbird Lane is not a mystery, but it works in that plot. I can't stand it in mysteries and haven't found one that does. I agree with that. Yeah. I haven't read the tea girl of Hummingbird Lane, but I can totally see how Deus Ex Machina would just be so unsatisfying in a mystery. It would totally feel like cheating. The Princess Bride. Okay, so this is classic. This is a classic Deus Ex Machina in The Princess Bride. And I'm just going to go for it because, I mean, if you haven't seen The Princess Bride by now, then too bad for you. So we have Wesley. It's that moment in the movie when Wesley is sitting down with Vicini. He's trying to save Buttercup. Buttercup has been kidnapped by Vicini, and they've got the 2 goblets of wine, you know, that famous scene. And then he has dissolved, you know, the poison in one of them, and Wesley has to choose the right one. It's this big battle of wits. But then it's suddenly revealed that Wesley has been building up a tolerance against this specific poisonous powder his entire life, and that's the only reason why he survived. So I think that's a perfect example of Deus Ex Machina, because that's never come up before in the movie. And how did he know that that's the specific poison that Vicini would choose? Like, that really does seem like a perfect example of a Deus Ex Machina. Anyway, if you guys, you know, find this interesting at all, let me know if you've read a story with a Deus Ex Machina that did work for you. I'd love to hear about that too. But for the most part, I would imagine that for mysteries anyway, I would find it very disappointing, unsatisfying. But I just can't think of any off the top of my head. Naomi says, in regards to HP, Harry Potter. Sorry. It is a foresight to book 7 in the battle, but I think Fox had been seen before. I just can't say for sure. Fox is the Phoenix. So if he'd been seen before in the books, and I can't even remember now, is the Chamber of Secrets the first one? I don't think so. No, it's not. That's the Philosopher's Stone. So it really would matter if he'd been seen before. Hearts and Whodunits, I have to go. Thanks for the sprints. You are very welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope you got some good reading done. Let's do another half-hour sprint. What do you guys think if we start on the half hour and read till the hour? Does that sound good? I liked doing a half-hour reading sprint. It just kind of felt like you could get a little more into your book. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Half an hour. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Also, is it just me that finds this stuff interesting? I hope that it's not. To talk about stuff like Deus Ex Machina. Maybe I just like saying Deus Ex Machina. It's fun. It's like from Seinfeld, that one episode where Elaine keeps saying Casus Belli, and George gets all upset because he doesn't know what they're talking about and he thinks they're talking about him. That was just a little reveal for you there about how much I love Seinfeld. I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. Okay. Oh, good. All right. Enjoy your reading. I will see you in half an hour. Welcome back. I hope you guys had a great reading sprint. I certainly did. Annie, hello, Annie. I'm listening to Pillow Stock by Diane Valeri. That's great. Susan got another chapter read and started a third. Perfect. So yeah, let me know how it went. Also, I would love it if you would just tell me a little bit about the book that you're reading. Let's talk about these books. Why not, right? I'd love to hear a little bit about the book that you're reading and how you're enjoying it. Death of Riley is the second in the Molly Murphy series, and she finagles herself into a job as an assistant for a private investigator. She's decided that that's a job that she wants, is to be a private investigator, but of course she doesn't know anything about being a private investigator, and so she gets a job as an assistant to Patty Riley, who is a private investigator, and he has an office with all his disguises and everything, but he's very unconvinced that Molly could be a private investigator because shock horror, she's a woman. And so he doesn't actually tell her anything about his cases, and he doesn't actually teach her anything, which is what she really wants. He just uses her basically as a secretary. She cleans up and tidies his files and stuff like that. But then of course, she comes into work to find Patty dead at his desk. And so she decides that she needs to investigate his murder. And it's great because, you get a lot of early New York, like turn of the century New York, as she goes around the city to various locations investigating. And I like that. So they've mentioned Delmonico's, which is of course a famous restaurant in New York, and various areas of New York. So I like that part. And I also really enjoy kind of like just being along with Molly on her endeavors, because she has to learn all of this herself. He didn't really bother to teach her anything. So she's trying to figure out like what could have gotten him killed. And so trying to find information in his files, which he's got, coded. And so she has to figure that out. And so she gets herself into these situations because she's just gung ho. And then, things don't go the way that she's planned, but it's very fun to be along with her for the ride. Cornflower, I finished my middle grade book, now reading Years by Lavyri Spencer on a recommendation from Stormy. Hope to finish it this weekend too. That's great. What was the middle grade book that you read, Cornflower? Jackie, The Three Musketeers is written with a banter and style that makes it conversational. There is intrigue and mystery and trickery. Did they really fight so many sword fights back then? That's a good question. I would love to know that too. And honestly, like the more you talk about this is sounding great. I need to read this. Intrigue, mystery, and trickery. Like that sounds great. And this banter and the style that making it conversational, that just sounds really good. Julianne, Death on the Cheryl is part of the British Library Crime Classics. It's set at a women's college in Oxford. Yes, I have that one on my shelf and I haven't read it yet, but it does look very interesting. I like the setting of a women's college. I love books that are set in Oxford. I think it's a fantastic setting, especially for mysteries or historical mysteries or whatever. Mavis Doriel Hay is the author, and she only wrote 3. She only wrote 3 mysteries, which I find really intriguing. Greenstick Cottage, I switched to reading Gone with the Wind during this sprint. It's my 3rd time reading it, but the previous time was at least 20 years ago, so it is feeling pretty fresh this time. Yes, I'm curious. Let me know what you're thinking of it, because it's been probably at least 20 years since I've read it as well. It's a monster of a book, but I really can't remember anything about like the writing style or like if it felt slow or whatever. So yeah, let me know. I'm very curious Donna says, in Death in Castle Dark, the main character was just reading a gothic romance by Victoria Holt and then had something very gothic happen to her that made her run from the castle. Very spooky. Ooh, I like that. I love Victoria Holt. I'm a huge fan of gothic romances, like of the Victoria Holt style. I love that. Everything you're telling me about this book makes me think that I'm going to enjoy it. The one thing that I didn't know, and I couldn't tell even from reading the back, is this set in the States? I think it's set in the States, but of course, because it's a castle, you just automatically think that it's in the UK somewhere. So I'm curious, Donna, where that's set. Cornflower, it was called The Vanishing Trick by Jenny Spangler. Didn't care for it. Fair enough. Naomi, I'm on page 181 now. Just finished the crazy night scene that reminded me of Clue when I first read it. Remind me what you're reading, Naomi. I've totally forgotten now. Clue. That movie is awesome. I just recently rewatched that. Cornflower Blue, Death in Castle Dark was excellent. Oh, good. There you go. Yeah, I have it on my pile. And so, yeah, after all these comments, it might have to go much farther up the list for me to read, definitely. Although next up, when I finish Death of Riley, I'm going to start Blue Monday by Nikki French. This has gotten I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it's been recommended to me by a lot of different people. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one, and it's perfect for March Mystery Madness because it's a 2-word title, but also Nikki French is a writing team. It's a pair of writers, so it fits with the theme really well. So I'm excited about starting that, and I'm going to start the next Agatha Christie in my read-through project, which is A Murder is Announced. I'm excited. This is a marple. I like a good marple. And I love the premise of this one. In the newspaper, everyone in the town reads this. A murder is announced and will take place on Friday, October 29th at Little Paddocks at 6:30 p.m. And so everybody shows up at Little Paddocks because this just sounds fun, right? Like, who doesn't love a good murder party? But of course, someone actually gets killed. So that's fantastic. Also, I'm excited to read this one because the murder happens on October 29th, and that's my birthday. So thank you, Agatha Christie, for putting one of your murders on my birthday. Naomi says, oh, right. Sorry. This is the 7 Tiles Mystery. I knew that, but I just totally forgot. Tammy, are you doing any more sprints? Yeah, we're going to do another sprint here in just a few minutes. Tammy, nice to see you here. Marlena Joe, I really like A Murder is Announced. Yes, I have been trying to remember if it's one that I've read before or not. I get confused because I've seen all the adaptations, and so then I get confused of whether or not I've read them before. I'm pretty sure that I have, though, but it's been a very long time, so I'm really excited about getting into it. Libraries and Labradors, hi, welcome here. I'm sure I missed most of this, but glad I caught it. I've heard nothing but good things about Blue Monday. That's great. Well, you know what? You're just in time because we're going to do another reading sprint, so it's great. We're glad to have you. Nadine, Dead Girls is an easy, quick read for me. I'm a slow reader. I was pulled into the story early on. I like the way the mystery is unfolding, slow and steady. That's great. You know what? It's interesting because often I like a pacey mystery. I like the action to happen relatively soon, the murder to happen relatively soon, and that for it to be nice and pacey. But you know what? Every once in a while, I don't mind those slow build ones where it's everything is just taking its time, and often you don't get the murder until later in the book, and it's slow and steady. But it's building. Every once in a while, I don't mind ones like that at all. Donna says Death in Castle Dark is set in Illinois. Okay. Oh, that's good. Out in the country where a man has built a replica of a European castle. Okay. Yeah. Dinner and a murder are held there with paying guests who act as the inspector. Oh yeah, that's right. So I remember reading from the back that our main character has joined the cast of a like a, you know, yeah, dinner and a murder. That's sounding so good. Greenstick Cottage. I'm on chapter 5 of GWTW. I've already forgotten what that means. And what I'm noticing the most this time is how beautifully Mitchell describes all the surroundings. Oh, Gone with the Wind. Got it. Okay. How beautifully the author describes all the surroundings, flora and fauna. Also, the personality descriptions are great. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's good. I don't know. For some reason, I wouldn't have thought that landscape descriptions were a big part of the story. So that's very interesting. Julianne. Oh, your birthday is October 31st. Excellent. Halloween, baby. Yes, I'm close, but no cigar for the Halloween, baby. Gone with the Wind. Thank you. Yeah, that took me a minute to get there. My brain is a little slow sometimes. Okay, so let's do at 1:15. Let's do another half-hour reading sprint and read until 1:45. I think that would be great. I'll get another good chunk of my Death of Riley. So if that's okay with you guys, that's what we will do. And thanks for letting me hear about the books that you're reading. I love that. I mean, I love talking about books, right? And so I love to hear what other people are reading as well. I've really liked the theme this year for March Mystery Madness. This 2x2 theme just worked so well because you can pretty much make almost any book fit a theme like that. And so, yeah, so I mean, I had all kinds of books to choose from. But I was able to go through the books that I had from the library, and many of those I was able to make fit the theme. So let me know. I would love to hear kind of how did that work for you? How did you get your books to fit the theme? I always like to know that. Naomi, that would be perfect. I should be able to finish the last 100 pages. There you go. Perfect. 2x2. So 2x2, basically, we're just kind of playing around with the fact that this year is 2022. So we thought that it would be fun to just go with like pairs, doubles, anything like that. So for example, Blue Monday fits the theme because it's a 2-word title. So 2x2 is a 2-word title. Or the fact that Nikki has 2 C's in her name, that could fit. Or the fact that Nikki French is actually a husband and wife writing team. So that's a pair of writers. Therefore, that fits 2x2. The 2x2 theme. I mean, you could really do pretty much anything with it. One of the books that I read, I was having a harder time having it fit. I just finished it. It was called Murder at the Ritz. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I get this to fit the 2x2 theme? And then I realized that it had 44 chapters. So I thought, perfect. 2x2, 2 times 2 is 4. And 2x2, 4 and 4, 44. Right? So, I mean, you can pretty much just play around with it and do anything that you want. Oh, good, Nadine, you loved it too. Yeah. I'm glad, Cornflower, that you liked it. Libraries and Labradors, 100 pages in 30 minutes. It is very impressive. Yeah, I think so. Perfect. So there you go. Naomi is reading The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie, and it fits because it's written in the 20s, set in the 20s, 2s. Perfect. Libraries and Labradors. I just have a goal of reading 2 mysteries as my way of fitting it in. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly, yep, that's exactly it. One of my reads was to Helvetica and back. It had 2 pens on the cover. Almost any book can work somehow. Exactly. 2 pens on the cover. Perfect. Donna says Death in Castle Dark along with Mrs. Morris and the Ghost are 2 new to me mystery series that I have started during March, reading the first books in both series, 2 by 2. Perfect. Yep. I read the second book in Nova Nelson's Paranormal Cozy series and the next book in the series. So 2 books from that series. There you go. Perfect. 2 by 2 is great. Yeah. I mean, it was such a good, I loved that it was such a broad theme, that it was so open. I did like that. I do like prompts, but the thing with prompts is they can get a little bit stressful. So even though I like prompts, I love that the theme was so broad and open this year. Oh, I have not read it yet. Sorry. I have not read it yet. I will read it soon. Are you on Voxer, Libraries and Labradors? Because maybe we can connect up on Voxer, and I can let you know when I've read it and we can talk about it, because I completely understand the need to talk to people about books after I've read them. I 100% I do. Okay, you can find me on Voxer. My Voxer name is Janella's Too Fond of Books. And so yeah, let's connect, and I will definitely let you know when I've read it. Okay, we are a minute late, but let's do our next half-hour reading sprint if you guys are okay with that. And so we will read until quarter after. Let me find the right one. Okay, have fun, everybody. Perfect. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good reading sprint. I had a delicious reading sprint because Aaron brought me pie. It's actually Aaron's birthday today, and his mom made key lime pie. Delicious. I don't think I've ever had key lime pie before. And was it ever good? Yummy. So thank you, Mom, for the delicious pie. And thank you, Aaron, for having a birthday. Annie, I read Victoria Holt's first book this week, Mistress of Melon. Oh, I didn't know that was her first book and thought it was more mystery than romance. I really enjoyed it. I bet you that it could be considered a romantic suspense, probably. I have a whole bunch of Victoria Holt, but I don't think I've read Mistress of Melon. It's not sounding familiar to me. What's that one about, Annie? I'm curious. I don't think I've read that one. Donna says, Janelle, another synchronicity this week. The main character in Death in Castle Dark was reading Mistress of Melon, just as Annie read this week. Isn't that funny? We had another case of that happening last week with books that Donna and I were reading. It was hilarious. Stormy, hi, Storm. Welcome. Totally forgot about your sprints. Reading Undercover Couple by Barb Han. It's a Harlequin intrigue. Needed a break from hardcore mysteries. Sounds good. Paul, I'm almost done with Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I'm enjoying it. I read Riley that book by Riley Sager a year or two ago. That one was good. Like that's the one where the girl takes up a position of like apartment sitting, wasn't it? Yeah, that one was creepy. Tiffany, hello, Tiffany, welcome here. Green stick. I will tell Aaron that you said happy birthday. Yeah, key lime pie. Delicious. Naomi, Naomi liked it. Fantastic. More birthday greetings. I will let Aaron know that you guys are so awesome. Although he already knows. I tell him about how awesome you guys are. Naomi, you managed to finish the last page as the music started. Oh, good for you. That's impressive. 100 pages in 30 minutes. That's impressive. Even though, like, the Seven Dials mystery is a really fast-paced, quick read of Agatha Christie, but still, that's very impressive. Cornflower Blue, great sprint, getting close to finishing years. Excellent. Storm, I have a few Victoria Holt books, but not read them yet. I remember my mom reading them when I was a teen. Yeah, the thing with the Victoria Holt books, I think it depends. Some of them are kind of probably that romantic suspense. Some of them are maybe more just like kind of historical fiction. It depends with those. But I've read a few of them, and I do really like them. Paul, yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of then. I've read a few Riley Sager. Somebody's birthday. Happy birthday. Aaron's my husband. Tiffany. I also loved Home Before Dark. Gave this one 5 stars. You gave Home Before Dark 5 stars? Have I read Home Before Dark? Is that the one where the girl is going home early before Thanksgiving and she gets a ride with a guy off like the ride share board? Is that what that one was? The one that's set in the 90s? I'm so glad it's still a 5-star Christie for me. Yeah, the Seven Dials mystery is super fun. This is a great weekend for me for finishing books. I've had too many going. Oh man, that's happened to me before. I'll take a look and suddenly, for some reason, I'm reading 6 books at the same time. I don't know how that happens. It's great to know both of your birthday dates today. Happiest of birthdays to Aaron. Thanks, Donna. I will make sure and tell him. Oh, that's the Haunted Mansion. Oh, so that's a different one. I haven't read Home Before Dark then. Jackie says, I've moved the Three Musketeers along nicely today. So glad we had the reading sprints. Well, you are very welcome. So here's the big question. Are you guys done, or would you like to do one more 30-minute reading sprint? I have time to do one more 30-minute reading sprint, and I would like to get more of my Death of Riley done. I have like 100 pages left, I think. Yeah, about 100 pages left. And so if I do another 30-minute reading sprint, then I can get a good chunk of that done. Green Stick's in, great. Jackie's in. And I know we've got a few people who have just joined us recently, so they might be okay with doing another reading sprint. Let me know. Storm, great. Donna, excellent. Cornflower, great. Okay, so yeah, then we're totally going to do it. At on the hour, we'll do another reading sprint and we'll read for half an hour. Perfect, right? Yes, perfect. I've got some more tea. I made some more tea to have with my pie. This time I'm doing vanilla rooibos. This has been my tea theme today, has been rooibos tea. I started out these reading sprints with raspberry rooibos, which was delicious. This is vanilla rooibos, which is also delicious. Paul, one more, please. I will be doing silent reading around. Oh, plus, oh, good. Yeah. So check out Paul's channel. Paul does a lot of reading sprints or silent reading. So if you want to do more, then Paul is doing silent reading about 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. If you are in, thanks, Paul, for letting us know. Naomi, I need to head out and get some errands done, but this was great. You are welcome, Naomi. And big accomplishment because you finished your book. So that's great. Nadine is in. Great. Susan, you're in. Love it. My mother-in-law, she's in because she's awesome. Are you going to have another slice of pie? Reading A Very English Murder, the first in the Lady Eleanor historical kit. Oh, that's the one by Verity Bright, right, Tiffany? I love that series. I love that series so much. Verity Bright is a husband and wife writing team. But what I love about that series, it's set in the 20s, like it's 1920. I'm pretty sure it's just 1920, which is a great time period. So you still get like the bright young things. And Lady Eleanor is such a great character. She's been kind of traveling around the world a little bit. She's an orphan and her uncle dies. Her uncle has a title and an estate and he dies and she's all that's left of the family. So she inherits. And so she has to go back to England to take up this new title, which is, so she's now a Lady Eleanor. But what's great is that she kind of wasn't brought up in that world. So she doesn't quite have all of the societal, mannerisms and stuff. And so I love the way that she interacts with the staff at the house. And so she spent a lot of time there when she was a kid. And so she knows some of the staff from when she was young. And so she's got this great interaction with the staff that I really enjoy. I love the lightheartedness of the series. And I remember, especially the second book in the series, there was a few moments where I just laughed out loud. They were so funny. She's such a great character. And she has the cutest little dog. I forget what kind of a dog it is, but it's a cute dog. And I love especially her interactions with the butler. It's great. Oh, Annie's in. Julie's in. Yes, Verity Bright. Awesome. Ooh, Julianne and I are both enjoying vanilla rooibos. Excellent. Elizabeth, welcome here. Oh, you're listening to Enola Holmes. I'm cleaning the garage with my headphones died and I had to go plug them in. Yeah. I have never read any Enola Holmes. I haven't seen any of the shows either. For those of you who have read it, how would you compare the show to the books? I know there's often a lot of changes, but I'm just curious. I haven't seen the show or read any of the books. Storm. Okay, now that series is going on the list. Yeah. It's just a really fun, it's a fun series. I like it a lot. And Storm, was it you who said Book Outra, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that you like that publishing company? If that's you, they publish the Verity Bright books. So I don't know if that factors in at all, but Elizabeth says, I'm 25% into book 2 and they are awesome. All right, good. And that's middle grade. Am I right? Or is that more YA? I'm not entirely sure. So during the last reading sprint, I read, there was a scene in the Death of Riley that was a perfect example of what I've been talking about following Molly on her adventures and her being still slightly naive about life in general, basically. And so she's doing her investigations, trying to find out who killed her employer, Patty Riley. And so she's been looking at some of his active cases to see if it was any of those cases that was involved. And so she needs to talk to this guy who's a painter, and he says, oh, I want to paint you. And so she's like, this is perfect, I can get him to talk to me. And he says he had mentioned something about life studies, and that he wants to paint her. Well, of course, Molly has no idea what a life study is, and so she goes to his studio, and when he says you can go behind the screen to take your clothes off, she is so indignant. It's hilarious because she had no idea that that's what life study means. So then, of course, the question became, how much did she need to talk to this guy for her case? It was very funny. It was very funny. Oh, that is the publication company. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Oh, they could be both middle grade and YA. About how old then is Enola Holmes? I'm curious. I think they are technically middle grade, but they're very intelligent, I think. Okay, good. Yeah. So, I mean, is she like 12 or is she like 16? I guess that kind of makes a big difference. Mistress of Melon is about a governess at an estate in Cornwall who eventually solves the mystery of the little girls and who their parentage is and what happened to the deceased wife of the master. Oh my goodness, that sounds right up my alley. I have to read that. I have to go check my shelves and see if I own that one, because that sounds great. I love books that are set in Cornwall, and it certainly sounds like it's got like a gothic vibe too. I love that. Oh, she's 14. Oh, yeah. So I can totally see how it would be like, it could be middle grade or it could be YA. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so about a minute and a half here. We will do our last half hour reading sprint. This is great. I'm hoping to get, yeah, I've got like 100 pages left in the book. I doubt that I can read 100 pages in 30 minutes, but I won't be distracted by pie this time. So there is a distinct possibility that I could get at least 50 pages read. I'm thinking. Oh my goodness, this has been so fun. I love spending my Saturday afternoons with you guys. It's great. I mean, I want to read anyway, and reading with you guys is just so much more fun. I love it. So yeah, I'm totally going to do monthly reading sprints now. I just need to figure out when in April I'm going to do it, but I think I'm going to stick with Saturday afternoons. I think so. So yeah, that'll be great. Okay, so here we go. Another half hour reading sprint. So we will read until the half hour mark. Enjoy your sprints, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good reading sprint. Ooh, Annie says Pillow Stock is about an interior designer who loves mid-century modern design and all things Doris Day. So the titles are a variation of Doris Day movies like Pillow Talk. Oh, fun. I love that. Also, we've been talking about certain coincidences, and I know that Jackie is reading The Three Musketeers, and I just read a scene in Death of Riley where she said she felt like she was playing the part of D'Artagnan. So there you go. There's another little hilarious coincidence in what we are reading. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed these reading sprints and have gotten a good amount of reading done. I'm going to chat for a few more minutes here and then say goodbye. I've had a great time. I've got a good amount of reading done, and I will definitely finish my book tonight. So that's excellent in time for the Zoom chat that I'm going to have about it tomorrow. So that's very fun. Jackie says he is a busy guy in the book. Yes, well, Molly comes home to find someone in the house, and so she grabs a knife from the kitchen only to discover that the intruder also has a knife, and so they're kind of like, it's like sword fighting, but not really sword fighting, because Molly didn't know what she was doing. But yeah, that's very fun. All right. So, yeah, I don't have any more discussion questions or anything. It was very entertaining to talk to you guys a little bit about Deus Ex Machina. That was really fun. And also our conversation about the type of clues you like in mystery was also really fun. Mostly like I had come up with physical clues, psychological clues, and logical clues. I don't know if I asked, like, can you guys think of anything else? Like, was there like a glaring type of clue that I didn't think of? If you guys had thought of one, I would love to hear, because that was really fun. Always appreciate these reading sprints. Thanks for putting these together. No problem at all. It is very fun. Thank you for the fun chat and sprints. You are very welcome. I'm so glad that you guys joined me for this. I do really enjoy it. Yeah. So I think that is going to be all from me. Yeah, it's supper in about half an hour. And yeah, I will read a bit this evening. Aaron and I are watching season 2 of The West Wing. We have a couple more episodes, so we might watch those tonight. And yeah, I think that's it for me. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, whatever that looks like for you. And yeah, I'll see you for another one of these reading sprints sometime in April. I will let you know. Yeah. Okay. So good night, everybody.